So I am an Android guy, and I bought the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, I don't know if you guys watch my short form content on either like TikTok or Instagram or here on YouTube Shorts, but it seems like anytime I talk about using an iPhone, or sometimes even just generally talk about iPhones, there's people in the comments that are like, oh, we've lost him. He's a traitor. But guys, don't worry. Even though I bought this phone, I am not switching to iPhone. Like, actually, this phone will be going to my wife. Like, obviously, I bought it to do an unboxing video and like do some other videos on this phone. But once I'm done testing it, my wife is going to be switching to this phone. Now, just to preface, this video is not a review because obviously I would have to switch to the iPhone to be able to review it. And we all know I'm not doing that. And I literally got this phone yesterday. So these are just some more general thoughts of what I think about this new phone. And I really want to split this video into two sections. The first of which being what my initial thoughts were when they first announced this phone like a week and a half ago or so. And then the second section being what are my thoughts on this device now that I actually have it and have seen other people talking about it and demonstrating different features. Now, I'm sure you guys know that Apple events have a lot of hype. Like, people will literally get hyped for no reason. Like, now this is probably exaggerating a little bit, but it feels like if Apple were to just have an event to literally announce nothing, they just have an event and don't announce anything, people would still get hyped for it, like somehow, some way. So when Apple had this event announcing the new iPhone 16 devices, there was, of course, some hype, like there is every year. And so my initial impressions when watching the event, I was like, okay, we got some pretty cool stuff here. Like, I was actually someone who thought that the camera control button, even though I'm sure you guys have seen, has received a lot of criticism, like, I actually thought that was really cool. Like, you got a new like button that you can also do swipe gestures on. Like, have we even seen anybody do that before? Like, I don't know. That's just cool. And then you could even long press that same camera control button to quick access image searching, which I also thought was really cool because, you know, if you're just out in the world and you're wondering what something is, you can super quickly and easily search that thing. I also thought it was cool that the phones can now record 4K 120, which isn't necessarily a new thing for other smartphones on the market, but the iPhone can do it now. So, I mean, cool. And then of course they continued to talk more and more about Apple Intelligence. Like, for example, how you can search through your photo library and it uses AI to find specific things in specific photos and even specific parts of specific videos, which I thought that was really cool. And then you have the new Siri where you can tell it to send a group of specific photos from like an event or something to a specific person, and it'll just like add those photos to that text message for you. And so my first impressions, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. We got some cool stuff here. And I actually made a whole short form video talking about this. I'm like, look at all this cool new stuff. But then a week and a half passes by and people have time to try the phones and make videos about them and talk about them. And yeah, well, since then, my thoughts have changed a little bit. So now let's talk about my current thoughts about the iPhone 16 Pro. But wait, hold on. Before we talk about that, it's time we hear from our sponsor, Soundcore. So these right here are the new Soundcore Space One Pro, and one thing that's really cool about them is they fold down in a way that I don't think I've seen any other headphones fold down before. Like, they literally fold into a circle. They actually said it's the size of a donut. So, you know, if you're somebody who travels a lot and you're used to your headphones taking up a lot of space, well, this might be something that's appealing to you. Now, these headphones do have active noise cancellation, which is powered by 6 different microphones around the unit that allows for over 45 decibels of noise cancellation. Now, these headphones also have a lot of battery life, so with active noise cancellation turned on, you can get up to 40 hours, and if you turn that off, you can get up to 60 hours. But what's really cool is that if you literally charge these for 5 minutes, you can get up to 8 hours of playback. They also have upgraded triple composite drivers, which allow for pretty much distortion-free audio. They're also very comfortable with this like squishy headband and these memory foam ear cups. So if you guys want to check out the Soundcore Space One Pro for yourself, you can feel free to see the link in the description. But now, let's get back to the video. Okay, so since my initial impressions of the phone, I've come to realize that it's not all as great as I was initially thinking, but then there's also some other things that are actually really good that I didn't even really consider. So first off, and this is honestly probably a topic that you've heard other people talk about, but all of the Apple Intelligence features on this phone are not on this phone. Like, Apple talked about all of these features at the launch event, and then those features didn't come on this phone. Like, they're coming in a later update. So like I talked about, where you can long press the camera control button and access image searching, yeah, nothing happens when you long press the camera control button right now. And if I try to launch Siri, you can see that we still have the old Siri animation. We also can't use AI to search through our photo library. Like, they just announced all this stuff but didn't give it to us yet. Now, obviously, that's kind of a bummer, especially when a lot of the keynote was them like, we have Apple Intelligence on this phone, and then it doesn't come on the phone. So when I get the phone, there's a lot less features than maybe I was expecting. Now, I'm not gonna act like Apple is the only one doing this, because, for example, if you guys remember the Google Pixel 8 launch event, they announced a bunch of AI features, but then some of those AI features were coming in a later feature drop or whatever. So like, Google announced their video boost feature, and well, guess what? That didn't come out until like a year later. But I will say, when Google did this, they did at least launch the phone with some of the AI features, probably most of them, but you know, of course, there were some that were coming in a later update, and unfortunately, that's what Apple did here, which isn't really something I would necessarily expect Apple to do. But then it's like, okay, fine, we'll probably wait like a month or two, I don't know, and then the phone will have all of the Apple Intelligence features that we were originally expecting. It'll be all fine and dandy. Okay, great. But what if I were to tell you that those Apple Intelligence features aren't even exclusive to this phone? So actually, from what I understand, all of the Apple Intelligence features that are coming to the iPhone 16 devices are also coming to the iPhone 15 Pro. Now, of course, this is a good thing. Like, Apple's just giving extra features to the iPhone 15 Pro users, which means that they don't necessarily have to upgrade their phone, and they're just getting extra features that they didn't pay for. So like, I'm glad that Apple did that, but also, it kind of makes the iPhone 16 feel a little less special, I guess. Like, does that make sense? Like, especially if you're somebody who already has the 15 Pro, it just makes the list of new features for the iPhone 16 a lot smaller, because you already are getting a lot of those features. Now, I do want to bring up the camera control button again, because my initial thoughts is I thought it was cool. But now, honestly, I still think it's pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. And yes, a lot of people have been giving the camera control button criticism because they don't think it's very useful, or it kind of is not very good ergonomically. And I do agree with the ergonomics thing. Like, it is in an awkward place to use both horizontally and vertically, but I still think it's cool. Like, using a button that can use swipe gestures and haptics, like, come on. It's just cool. I don't know how useful it'll end up being in my day-to-day. Like, will I even actually use it? But I still think it's cool, okay? Now, there are a couple things that I didn't even really think about in my initial thoughts, and one of them is actually very cool, and it's the fact that you now have different audio processing modes on this phone. So when you record a video on the phone, it's using 4 different studio mics. I don't know why they call them studio mics. Like, you're not using those mics in a studio. So they call them studio mics, but what's actually cool is you can choose how to isolate or process your audio after the fact. So I can record a video and it might sound kind of echoey, kind of phone-like, but then I can go into the editing of this video and I can just choose studio mode, and suddenly it's sounding more like a podcast. And then you can also use this feature to isolate voices. Like, if you only want to capture your voice in the frame of the video, but you want to cancel out background noise that isn't in the frame of the video, it can do that too, which is cool. And so honestly, I think that's something that Android phones need to work on, like audio quality. Like, if you think about it, audio is half of the video. Like, if you watch a video and it has bad audio, you're probably gonna skip that one. But if you watch a video and it has not great video, but really good audio, you might stick around. So audio is very important, and I think smartphone manufacturers need to work on it like Apple has done here. Now, of course, the phone also has some other refinement upgrades like slimmer bezels and better battery life and an updated ultra-wide camera that can also be used as a macro camera since it now has autofocus. And of course, with iOS 18, even though we don't have those AI features yet, we do have now actually customization options buttons on the phone. Like, thank you, Apple. You finally did it. Congrats. And so most of the new features that Apple released with this phone, I do generally like. I just wish that they released it with Apple Intelligence on day one, so it would feel like more of an upgrade. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks again to Soundcore for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to check out those headphones, you can see the link in the description. But anyways, we'll see you guys in the next one.